Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I don't have a lot of time today to make a video, so we're just going to try to run through some stuff. And this is really, really big. This may be one of the more important videos I've made in the last couple of weeks. So you need to kind of listen to this, and probably next week I may do a much longer, more expansive video on this subject and get into it some more. But I have a couple of questions to ask. For those of you that read the good book, the Bible, have you ever thought about in the book of Revelation where it talks about a third of this dying and a third of that dying and a third of that dying, all this sounds like a big die-off, like a big extinction level kind of event. It's interesting. Have you ever given it much thought about how that might happen? Another thing to think of is this Agenda 2030 stuff. When they talk about it, and if some of you have gotten into it, some of you really understand and know what some of their plans are, because they spell it out. You can get right on their website and everything. And they talk about how they want us to, by the year 2030, which isn't that far away. We're only talking, it's less than a decade now, 7 years. How they want us to get to where we're eating almost no meat at all. They want us to get to where we're having, half or less than half of the emissions that we produce. They're talking about all these electric vehicles they want us to be driving around. Have you ever stopped to think about how in the world are they going to get people to do that? If you just do the math, and I don't have the time to get into it right now, but if you do the math, it's pretty much a mathematical impossibility for us to just mine and produce the raw materials it would take to make enough electric vehicles to convert all of the gas vehicles on the planet, or at least in the United States, over to electric vehicles. It's pretty much a mathematical impossibility. There's just not enough resources. There's not enough manpower to produce that much. How would they get people that like to eat meat and just stop eating meat? Well, here's a good answer to the question. At least it's an answer that I can give you. And that's, well, it just won't be available. Okay? It's kind of like the thing that we've been talking about with digital currency. Well, I'm not going to accept it. Well, if they bring that stuff and try to force, I won't accept it. I'll just keep using my paper money anyways. Except the paper money's not going to be worth anything. That's the whole point. They're not going to have them running side by side forever. At some point, the paper money's going to lose all of its value, and then you'll have no other choice because it's the only option available, unless you're really self-sufficient and have a good community going on. Well, it's the same way with all of this other stuff. You're not going to have a choice. That's their plan. Look at this article here that came up in the last week or so. An emergency approval has been made on a new vax, I hate to use that word on here because I'm going to get knocked, for honeybees. Yeah, the thing that goes in this arm, except it's for honeybees. That's right. That's a real genius idea. The one creature on this planet that produces 30 to 40% of all the food in this planet. We're going to give them a bunch of things in their arm, except they're going to feed it to them. They're not going to inject it in them. That would be ridiculous. And it's an emergency approval, so it's not really been tested that much. That's interesting. Here's another one. Some of this is from a few years ago, but it's still pertinent to this time. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they're really, really big in animal things. Yeah, they're really big into that. Here's another article where they're talking about how they're just pushing this to improve and to make a better bovine. Well, we've already seen the results of their new this that they put into people. And if they keep doing this with animals, is it within the realm of possibility that over the next few years we could see massive die-offs of animals? Lots and lots of cattle falling over dead, bees dying in mass. Is it possible? Well, it's possible because it's happened this year already. We're looking at almost 60 million birds have been killed this year because of a bird cough. Even though the vast majority of those birds were never tested, they didn't test positive, they would kill off entire flocks. And it's in part one of the reasons why you're paying $5, $6, and $7 a dozen for a dozen of eggs. But it's not without, outside the reason that they would do this to get us to their goals of controlling us and controlling what we eat and how we live. Because in the end, that's what it's about. It's not about money. It's not really about the planet. it's about controlling us. And when we look at these plans that they put out through the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, where they talk about how they want us to get to where we're eating almost no meat or no meat at all, and it's only for special occasions, well, what's going to happen to all the millions and millions of heads of cattle? Well, they're all going to have to die, aren't they? And if there's no meat around, then you want some protein. Well, I guess you'll just have to eat these bugs because that's the only thing available. How in the world are we going to kill off all those animals? Well, it would work really well if by some chance something happened and they all got sick and they just all died. This is something to think about. And I know I'm talking in kind of a hypothetical situation. But when you look at the Bible and it talks about basically it's describing a massive die-off of various species on this planet, it kind of makes you think that maybe that's their plan. Controlling the population, controlling human population, controlling animal population, controlling insect and population. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility because we're already seeing results of it now. I mean, going back again to like the electric vehicles and other things, there's no possible way we can produce enough electric vehicles and the infrastructure to keep those electric vehicles going just in the next, 7 to 10 years. Unless not everybody's going to get one. You turn in your gas vehicle and you don't get a vehicle at all. Or maybe you're just not around to even use a vehicle. I mean, that's the whole point of these 15-minute cities is to make everything so close within a 15-minute walk that you don't need a vehicle. And so no one's going to have them. This is all part of their dystopian, nightmarish plan that's actually being done right before your eyes. Most people on this planet don't even know about it. They don't care to know about it. When you try to explain it to them, they glaze over and they roll their eyes and they say you're some kind of lunatic. Except all the stuff that I've talked about and more is very openly spoken about by the likes of Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates and other people, Novar Harari, all of these people that talk about this stuff very openly at these events. This next week, the World Economic Forum is meeting in Davos, and I'm sure it will be an amazing event with all kinds of great plans being set up for you and I and our future. This is the kind of stuff that they're doing, folks, and you can turn a blind eye to it all you want, but it doesn't change the fact that they're doing it. And this is why I want to encourage everyone to continue on your preparation journey of getting yourself ready and getting your houses in order. This kind of stuff is real. They are doing it. It's right there in the news. It's right there on their websites. It's in their videos. It's in their documentations. They don't even hide it anymore because they know the vast majority of the population are just too glazed over to even pay any attention to what they're doing, and they'll just listen to the cute little talking points that makes it sound like that they're trying to build us some great utopian paradise for the future. When in fact, the only way for that to work is a lot of people and a lot of animals are going to have to die. And if that's their plan, then where are you going to fit within that? Are you going to allow yourself to be caught up in it and to become a slave and tethered to it to where you don't have another choice than to do what they tell you to do? Or are you going to set up your life in the most self-sufficient way possible, get out of Babylon, be prepared, and live a life independent from them? It may not be an easy life, but at least you'll have your freedom. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order, to prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.